Welcome to 8 Minutes Chinese. Today, we're unlocking the essential phrases you can use in daily life and master in your next business negotiation.
Have you ever been in a situation where you were just completely cornered, like absolutely zero way out, and then suddenly something inside you just switched on?
Oh, yeah, like full-blown hyper-clarity survival mode.
Exactly. And that feeling is exactly what we're tackling in today's deep dive, because 2.5 millennia ago, right, a brilliant military strategist figured out that the absolute best way to keep his soldiers alive was to, well, guarantee that they were going to die.
Which is, I mean, it sounds totally backwards.
It really does. We're constantly told to build safety nets, keep our options open, always have an exit strategy. But what if giving yourself an escape route is like the very thing guaranteeing your failure?
Right. It completely upends how we think about risk.
It totally does. So today we are pulling apart an analysis of Chapter 11 from Sun Tzu's The Art of War, specifically the section called The 9 Situations. And our mission today is to unpack this highly specific, wildly counterintuitive ancient Chinese expression about high-stakes risk.
Yeah, we're taking this ancient military doctrine and overlaying it directly onto the modern human nervous system. Because a soldier's brain facing an army is basically identical to your brain facing, like, a sudden career crisis.
Okay, let's unpack this. If we're going to apply ancient battlefield tactics to our modern stress, we need to start with the actual phrase.
Yes, let's lay it out. And because the exact phrasing is so critical here, I'm going to slow way down. I'm going to dictate this syllable by syllable. I want you to hear every single tone perfectly. Here's the first half. Tu, zi,
Wang.
rang, di, ran, ho, gong.
Wow, okay, let me try to repeat that to practice. Tu, zi, wang, di, ran, ho, kum.
Perfectly done. Your tones were spot on.
Thanks.
Becky.
But let's translate those syllables into English. What does that actually mean?
Right, so we begin with the first word, tu. This translates to cast or to forcefully throw someone into a situation, like totally without their consent.
Got.
Then we have the location, wang, di. Wang means destruction or a point of no return. Di means ground or territory. So a wang, di, is literally a ground of no return, a place where you physically cannot retreat.
Wait, so you're forcefully throwing your own people into a place where they absolutely cannot run away?
Precisely. And then comes the pivot, rang, ho. This simply means and then, direct cause and effect.
Okay, and now what happens?
We reach the outcome, kun. This means to survive or preserve life. So the whole phrase, throw them into a ground of no return, and then they survive.
I mean, I'm struggling with the logic there. If you throw a team off a cliff, common sense says you doomed them. How does death equal life?
Well, what's fascinating here is the psychological burden of choice. Sun Tzu realized that when soldiers have even a tiny sliver of a chance to retreat, their brains are constantly calculating that escape route.
Oh, like if this goes bad, can I make it to those trees?
Exactly. Their cognitive load is divided. Half their energy is on fighting, and the other half is on hedging their bets. And hesitation in a high-stakes scenario, it's lethal.
So by putting them in a wang, a ground of no return, you kill the part of the brain that's calculating the retreat.
Right, because running is physically impossible. All that divided energy just snaps into singular focus. They have to fight forward.
By removing the safety net, you actually consolidate their power? That is wild. But our sources say the strategy escalates from there, right?
It goes to an absolute psychological extreme. Let's look at the second half of the phrase. Again, going very slowly, syllable by syllable. Listen closely. Shan, zi, ran, shun.
Okay, let me practice that. Shun, zi, di, ran, ho, shun.
Yes. Notice the shift in the verbs there. We went from tu, which was to throw, to shan, which is much heavier. It means to sink into or be inextricably submerged.
So they aren't just placed somewhere dangerous, they are completely swallowed by it.
Perfect distinction. And what are they sinking into? A junt. Di shan means literal death, and di is ground, a death ground, the most hopeless, terrifying place imaginable.
Wow.
Yet, after the pivot of run, ho, and then we hit the final word, shun.
Which means life, right? Or birth.
Correct. Drive them into a place of certain death, and they will live. Submerge them in the death ground, and they come alive.
I mean, I totally buy the military application, but we aren't leading armies across ancient plains, We're sitting in offices or, trying to manage our households. How does a literal death ground apply to a modern brain that's just trying to finish a project?
Because our biological resource management hasn't changed at all. The human brain is this massive energy drain, right? It's only 2% of our weight, but it burns 20% of our energy. So evolutionarily, we are wired for extreme energy conservation.
Oh, so we're naturally lazy.
Well, no, it's not laziness. The brain is aggressively hoarding energy until conservation itself becomes an extinction-level threat. Psychologists call this eustress positive stress. Sun Tzu was describing a psychological phenomenon 2,500 years before we had a word for it.
Wait, I love this. It's like how a smartphone manages its battery.
Oh, how so?
So think about your phone on a normal day. It's comfortable running all these background apps, fetching emails, tracking location. It assumes it has an infinite safety net of power.
Right, it's hedging.
Exactly. But the absolute second that battery hits 1%, the operating system freaks out, right? It kills the background apps, dims the screen, goes into extreme power-saving focus mode. The constraint forces ultimate efficiency.
That is a brilliant analogy. When the phone hits 1%, it has entered a D, and because it drops the non-essentials, it survives way longer on that 1% than you'd expect.
So let's take this smartphone survival mode and look at how it plays out in our actual lives. The sources gave us two really distinct scenarios. Let's start with a daily life situation.
Yes, the dreaded procrastination block.
Literally the bane of human existence. Say you have this massive project like organizing all your household finances or designing something. You have 6 months to do it. Total freedom.
Which sounds great on paper.
Right. But what actually happens? You stare at the file, you tell yourself you're letting ideas marinate, and then you scroll social media for an hour.
And the reason that happens is because freedom has infinite escape routes. When you have 6 months, you aren't in a wang, DB. You have thousands of paths that lead to the comfortable thought of, I'll just start tomorrow.
Because the brain wants to conserve energy.
Exactly. But then it's Thursday morning, and your accountant says, I need the final draft in 48 hours, no extensions.
The escape routes vanish.
Instantly, you are forcefully thrown into the wang, D.
And the response is crazy. You sit down, mute your phone, forget to eat lunch, and produce this spectacular work. The threat of consequences unlocks the exact brilliance that months of total freedom couldn't produce. The constraints don't just force the work, they become the creative engine.
Which is such a powerful way to look at it. If we connect this to the bigger picture, Sun Tzu was writing about the psychology of constraint.
Definitely. And here's where it gets really interesting. Let's apply this to a second scenario from the sources. A workplace or business strategy.
Yes, the startup founder.
Right. So imagine a founder. They're out of cash, running on fumes, operating on zero sleep. But they have this one safety net, a major lead investor, who is hinting at a massive check.
So the founder is constantly tweaking the pitch, having endless meetings, basically waiting to be saved.
Yep. And then the investor drops out. Deal is dead.
They are plunged directly into the SB.
You'd think they'd just fold. But having that option was actually creating paralysis. When they had options, they hedged. When the comfortable option dies, they suddenly make 30 cold calls, or they ship the imperfect product in 2 days.
The safety net was the problem all along. It kept them just comfortable enough to fail slowly.
That phrase, comfortable enough to fail slowly, is terrifying. But it happens in big corporations too, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Think of an invisible corporate employee.
Yeah.
They keep their head down, never learn new skills, just coasting. They have endless escape routes.
Running on background apps.
Exactly. Then a harsh restructuring is announced. A total performance audit. That is a wang. D. The option to stay invisible dies. And suddenly, that same employee figures out how to automate a 4-hour task into 10 minutes just to prove their value.
They were submerged in the death ground and they came alive. It's just, it really reframes how we view pressure.
It really does.
So for you listening right now, the next time you feel completely cornered, whether a deadline suddenly drops on you or a client pulls out, you shouldn't view yourself as being trapped.
No, not at all.
You are being activated. The worse the situation looks, the sharper the performance it can unlock. Shehen, Sun, Kellen, Di, Ran, Hao.
Sheng, beautifully pronounced. And it leaves us with a really final, provocative thought to mull over.
Ooh, I like where this is going.
If we know that a death ground is the ultimate key to unlocking our highest level of performance, is there a way for us to artificially engineer these stakes for ourselves?
Oh, wow.
Right? Can we hack our own psychology to create the eustress of a death ground without actually having to risk our entire livelihood?
That is such a good question. How do we build our own ground of no return? Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the source material. Don't fear your constraints.
Hope you loved today's 8-minute upgrade. Don't forget to subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time.